Yo, what's up? Bob here. Welcome to Vinyl Finds on the Bob Bradley YouTube channel. I've been out around town, digging through the crates, and I found some records. It seems that some wandering soul, someone in transition, an individual that was down on their luck possibly, has been around town selling their 1990s vinyl to the various retailers here in Louisville, Kentucky. And as an aging Generation Xer, Hesher, and 1990s dirtbag, yeah, this was music to my ears. So without further ado, let's get started. I was down at Half Price Books. I noticed they had a bunch of new 1990s records in their selection there. And they were having a 20% off sale. There were some nice things in the lockbox. I beckoned them to come over and let me in. I hate that lockbox. Anyway, I digress. Pulled this one. It was around 30 bucks with a 20% discount. This is a 1996 repress of the 1991 record Low End Theory from A Tribe Called Quest. Yes, this is a beautiful sounding hip hop record, socially conscious. This is before the times of the gangster rap movement, which I also love. But that's it. Most of the music on this record is based around the bass lines of jazz bassist Ron Carter. Yes, this is a sonically spectacular record. Lots of low end, as you would expect from a record called Low End Theory. The MCs, if you will, are spectacular expert orators, yes, rappers, lyricists, dropping killer bars. This is a great sounding record, in all seriousness, possibly quite audiophile. If you see this around, definitely snag it. This is 1996 repress. It sounds really nice. It has this kind of white label on it. 30 bucks, I really couldn't say no. Saw this just sitting in the racks there. It's a little later. I believe this is maybe from, sometime in the 2000s. It's a music on vinyl repress of Faith No More's Angel Dust. Check out this cover. Nice laminated jacket from Music on Vinyl, which I believe Music on Vinyl cuts most of the records digitally. But they sound great, and this is such a hard to find and hard to get record. I had no choice but to get it. 20 bucks, very clean, looks like it was hardly played, sounds great. Mike Patton on here, absolutely destroying. Faith No More, highly inventive band, super creative, somewhat psychedelic, kind of weird at times. They're not really a grunge band from the 90s. They're from a scene coming out of the California area. They were peers with bands like the Red Hot Chili Peppers and Jane's Addiction. So they're kind of removed from that Seattle thing, but very nice work from Faith No More. I try to get any Faith No More record I see. They're very hard to find. Speaking of Jane's Addiction, saw this one down at the comic book shop. This is an expensive record. And again, I had a coupon, luckily for me. And I was able to grab this for a decent price. Jane's Addiction, this is primarily live from the Roxy. The A side is acoustic, the B side is electric. Some classic Jane's Addiction songs that we know if you're into Jane's Addiction, of course. Definitely get their first 2 studio records before you buy this. This would be a very difficult record to buy in the first place because it's incredibly expensive. I ended up paying around 70 bucks for it with the coupon. And Yeah, I'm a huge Jane's fan, so it was a no-brainer for me, but this is very cool. Has a nice acoustic version of Jane Says on the A-side. Very, very rare record. Back down at half price. I'm like toggling between all these locations because they're dropping this stuff very slowly. When I saw this for $17.99, just sitting out. No Doubt's Tragic Kingdom. This is a second pressing on green translucent vinyl. The first few pressings of this record were all on colored vinyl, so that is the primary difference between, say, the first and second pressing is the color of the vinyl. This was a monster record at the time. Kind of mid-90s masterpiece is what I would call this. You know, Gwen Stefani, both talented and beautiful. The band, highly skilled musicians. It's punk, it's ska, it's poppy. The first song they dropped was Spiderwebs. Very great tune. I'm Just a Girl, Don't Speak. Great, great record. Kind of expensive. So when I saw it sitting there for $17.99, I thought, I'll be taking this home. Whoever the individual was that was selling all of these records was most certainly a fan of the singer Chris Cornell. Picked up this somewhat hard to find gem, Chris Cornell's Euphoria Morning. This is an artful piece of work from the virtuoso known as Chris Cornell. Rest in peace. This is a beautiful and very somber affair. Fantastic songs on this. Flutter Girl was the single, if you will. But there's a lot of acoustic songs on here. A lot of really dramatic ballads and things of that nature. Expertly recorded. Sounds amazing. Really a departure from Soundgarden. But a must-have if you are a fan of Chris Cornell. I mean, this is a beautiful record. Speaking of Soundgarden, saw this in the lockbox, had them open it. Down on the upside, Soundgarden original pressing from 1996. This is the first pressing of the record. This is a double album. Fantastic sounding record. This might be the best sounding pressing you can get from Soundgarden for whatever reason. Could be source material, I don't know, but it's noticeable. As soon as you put this on, the fidelity on this thing is outrageously good. Great, great record. Tunes on it we know, like Burden in My Hand, Pretty Noose. Big, big, huge singles off this record. I was lucky enough to see Soundgarden a few times and very happy to finally get this record in my collection. I'm spending a little money here, folks, you know. That said, this last one I probably paid the most for. I paid around $70 for it and don't regret it at all. I saw this there at the comic book shop the first day I went and didn't get it. And the more and more I thought about it, I decided, yeah, I gotta go back and get the record. Talking about the Pixies' Doolittle. Check out this cover. So cool. Got that monkey on the front. Pixies, incredible band. A 90s staple. If you want to go back 30 years, that's right, folks, 30 years. Drop the needle on this sucker and you will be transported right into the heart of the 90s alternative music scene. A lot of vibes on this record. You got a lot of aggressive tracks. You've got some really chill kind of things. Better than Surfer Rosa? Maybe not. You know, there's no big hits on this per se, but it's a really, really good record. So here is the label. Paid $70 for it. It was desperately missing from my collection. It's now found a forever home. Unless, for whatever reason, I have to part with all my records. And then some guy like me will find it and buy it. So, yeah. Nice stack. Great records. If you're into 90s rock music, you know, the 90s was a highly creative period. Probably the last blast for society as a whole. really being into music. It was the time before screens and before social media, if that's what you want to call it, just I would say before the oversaturation of culture in general, to the point that people just don't give a shit about most anything anymore. So I look back on the 1990s very fondly. Until we meet again, that's right, folks. Bob out.